Let us now look at ray optics. In this module we are going to cover important points on laws of reflection, important terms and definitions in ray optics, an understanding of sign conventions, derivation of focal length, and the key points important from examination point of view, and derivation related to magnification, laws of refraction, total internal reflection, followed by practice questions. Now let us get a quick refresh of laws of reflection. We know angle of incidence, that is angle between incident ray and the normal to the surface, is equal to the angle of reflection, that is angle between the reflected ray and the normal. Also second law is the incident ray, reflected ray and normal to the reflecting surface at the point of incidence all lie on the same plane. Let us understand some of the important terms. Pole is the center of the mirror and focus is nothing but the distance from the center of the mirror, which is equal to r by 2. What is r? R stands for radius of curvature. Radius of curvature is a distance from the point on the principal axis such that an imaginary circle can be drawn through this mirror. The point from which radius of curvature is measured up to the mirror is known as center of curvature. Now let us understand sign conventions. We have taken a concave mirror as an illustration. The direction of incident light, it is taken as positive, and any distance which is measured against the direction of incident light, it is taken as negative. So anything which is left of this axis, that is x axis given here, is termed as negative, and anything to the right of the mirror is termed as positive. And any distance measured below the x axis is given a negative sign, whereas a distance measured above the x axis is given as positive sign. This is more like the quadrants. The similar sign convention is applicable to the mirrors also. Now let us understand the derivation of focal length. Here we are going to establish a relationship between focal length and radius of curvature. Or in other words, we are going to prove that focal length is equal to radius of curvature by 2. Look at the diagram on the right side. Here a beam of light parallel to the principal axis is incident on the point M, and it reflects through the point F or the focus. As per law of reflection, angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Here consider CM perpendicular to the mirror. Thus, angle MCP can be written as and angle MFP can be written as 2 theta. How did you get angle MFP equal to 2 theta? In triangle MCF, angle MFP is the exterior angle. As per one of the properties of triangle, exterior angle is equal to sum of two angles of the opposite vertices. And hence, we can write angle MFP equal to 2 theta. Now let us consider triangle MCD and MFD. In triangle MCD, tan theta equal to MD by CD, whereas in triangle MFD, tan 2 theta equal to MD by FD. For very small value of theta, we can equate tan theta equal to theta. Thus, theta can be written as MD by CD, whereas 2 theta can be written as MD by FD. From the result of theta equal to MD by CD, we can write 2 theta equal to 2 into MD by CD. However, we already know 2 theta equal to MD by FD from the result of triangle MFD. Thus, 2 into MD by CD equal to MD by FD or FD equal to CD by 2. However, we know that FP is the 50% of CP. What we have got here is FD equal to CD by 2. Now we need to prove that FD equal to FP. Now let us understand this point D is very close to point P and hence FD is approximately equal to FP for all practical reasons. Thus FD equal to CD by 2 or focal length equal to radius of curvature divided by 2. Let us understand some of the key points. Point number 1, if the rays emanating from a point converges at another point, then that point is called the image of the point. That is, an image is formed only if all the reflected rays meet at a particular point. The image is real if it converges at a point. In case of concave mirror and convex lens, the image is virtual if it appears to diverge from the point. If the incident ray is parallel to the principal axis, reflected ray will pass through the focus. The incident ray passes through the center of the curvature. Reflected ray retraces the same path. This can be understood from the line ACN. Here AC is the incident ray, whereas NC is the reflected ray. If the incident ray passes through the focus, the reflected ray will be parallel to the principal axis. However, incident ray is at any angle on the pole. Reflected ray follows laws of reflection. That is, angle of incidence equal to angle of reflection. Now let us understand the derivation for linear magnification. In the given diagram, consider the right angle triangles A dash, B dash, F and MPF. Here we have approximated MP as a straight line, since the distance between the point P and the pole, it is very negligible. A dash, B dash, F and MPF are similar. This is due to angle-angle similarity criteria. What are the two angles which are similar? Here angle B dash equal to angle P, which is 90 degree. Angle PFM is equal to angle A dash F B dash, because vertically opposite angles. Thus these two triangles are similar in nature. In similar triangle, the ratio of corresponding sides are equal. Therefore, A dash B dash by MP equal to B dash F by FP. Let us designate this as equation 1. Now consider the right triangle APB and A dash P B dash. Here APB and A dash P B dash are similar. This is again due to AA similarity criterion. How it is similar? Because angle B is equal to angle B dash, because it is 90 degree, and angle APB equal to angle A dash P B dash, because incident angle equal to reflected angle. Thus A dash B dash by AB is equal to B dash P by BP. Let us designate this as equation 2. From equation 1 and from equation 2, we get B dash F by FP equal to B dash P by BP. Now we know B dash F by FP equal to B dash P by BP. However, B dash F is equal to BP minus FP. Our B dash F equal to B dash P minus FP. But B dash P is the image distance and FP is the focal length. Since it is measured in a direction opposite to that of the incident light, or to put simply, since it is measured to the left side of this concave mirror, we can write B dash F as minus V minus of minus F. And FP is nothing but the focal length and hence minus F. Now B dash P is equal to minus V and BP is nothing but minus U, because that is the object distance. On rearranging and calculation, we get V by F equal to 1 plus V by U. Now dividing this equation throughout by V on both sides, we get 1 by F equal to 1 by V plus 1 by U, which is nothing but mirror equation. Now linear magnification is nothing but size of the image by size of the object. Now in triangles A dash B dash P and ABP, A dash B dash by AB equal to B dash P by BP. Since A dash B dash is measured below the principal axis, we have minus H dash, and since the height of the object is measured above the x-axis or above the principal axis, we have plus H. Thus minus H dash by H equal to minus V by minus U. This gives us H dash by H equal to minus V by U. We need to note clearly that correct sign convention for the image distance and object distance has to be used for properly solving this problem. Remember, for real images, the magnification value, that is H dash by H, will be negative. Now let us understand laws of refraction. The incident ray, the refracted ray and normal to the interface at the point of incidence all lie in same plane. This is similar to that of laws of reflection. In laws of reflection, we have seen that angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. However, in case of laws of refraction, ratio of sine of angle of incidence to sine of angle of refraction is always a constant. This is Snell's law of refraction, and this constant is termed as refractive index. Note that N21 refers to refractive index of medium 2 with respect to medium 1. And let us understand some of the key points in laws of refraction. If the refracted ray bends towards the normal, then medium 2 is more denser than medium 1. However, if the refracted ray bends away from the normal, then medium 1 is more denser than medium 2. Let us say there are three mediums. In such case, refractive index of medium 3 with respect to medium 2 can be given by the product of refractive index of medium 3 with respect to medium 1 and refractive index of medium 1 with respect to medium 2. That is N32 equal to N31 into N12. Now let us understand total internal reflection. When light travels from denser to rarer medium, partial reflection of light happens into the same medium, that is within the denser medium, during refraction. That is, both the process do happen. That is, a part of light is refracted, whereas part of light is reflected back to the same medium. Here we need to notice angle of incidence and angle of refraction. In the first case, angle of incidence and angle of refraction, it is denoted by I and R. However, the angle of incidence is more, angle of refraction will also tend to be more. In the third case, if we still increase angle of incidence, angle of refraction will become normal. If we increase angle of incidence beyond this point, then no refraction will take place and all the light it will be reflected inwards. That is, total internal reflection occurs. This angle of incidence at which the refracted ray passes along the surface is termed as critical angle of incidence. Now let us get on with practice questions. Question number 1. You are given 3 lenses L1, L2, L3 each of focal length 20 cm. An object is kept at 40 cm in front of L1 as shown here. The final real image is formed at the focus of L3. Find the separation between L1, L2 and L3. The answer is as follows. If the image is formed at the focus of L3, the object should be placed at infinity. That is, the distance between L2 and L3 shall be more than that of 40 cm. Why we have taken 40 cm? Because 40 cm is the center of curvature, and hence the infinite distance should be more than that of the center of curvature. Let us assume the distance between L2 and L3 be 80 cm. The image is formed at the focus of L3. The rays emanating from L2 should run parallel to the principal axis. If the rays emanating from L2 is parallel to the principal axis, the object for L2 should be at its focus. That is, if the incident light it falls on focus, then the reflected light will be parallel to the principal axis. We are using the same principle here. Here object for L2 is nothing but image of L1. Now we need to find out the image distance of L1. For L1, the image distance is 40 cm. This is from the lens equation 1 by f equal to 1 by v minus 1 by u. For f we need to substitute 20 cm. And for u, we have to substitute 40 cm. On calculation, we get the image distance as 40 cm. At 40 cm from L1, the focus of L2 is located. The focus of L2, we already know it is 20 cm. Thus, the distance between L1 and L2 is 40 plus 20, 60 cm. We already have assumed that L2, L3 is 80 cm. Thus, the total separation or the distance between L1 and L3 is 40 plus 20 plus 80, which is equal to 140 cm approximately. Question number 2. An illuminated object and a screen are placed 90 cm apart. That is, the distance between the screen and the object is 90 cm. Determine the focal length and nature of lens required to produce a clear image on the screen, twice the size of the object. Here the magnification value is 2. Now, since the image is formed on the screen, the type of image is real. Now, let the object be placed at a distance x from the lens. That is, let the lens be placed between the screen and the object, and distance between lens and object be x. Thus, image distance is v, which is equal to 90 minus x. And we know the object distance is minus x because we are going to measure this distance from the left side of the screen or from the left side of the lens. Now, magnification we know it is v by u. And the final magnification is twice the size of the object and hence minus 2. Why minus 2? Because it is the real image. Thus, minus 2 equal to 90 minus x by minus x. That gives us x equal to minus 30 centimeter. That is, the object is placed 30 centimeter left of the lens. Now let us calculate focal length with these data. You know 1 by f equal to 1 by v minus 1 by u, and 1 by f equal to 1 by 90 minus x, that is v, minus 1 by x. On solving we get f equal to plus 20 centimeter. Since it is plus 20 centimeter, it denotes a convex lens of focal length 20 centimeter. Question number 3. The near point of a hypermetropic person is 50 centimeter from the eye. What is the power of the lens required to enable the person to read clearly a book held at 25 centimeter from the eye? Now near point of the eye is given by y equal to 50 centimeter, and power of lens can be derived from the formula 4 into near point minus 1 by near point. This gives us power equal to plus 2 diopter. Question number 4. A converging lens is kept coaxially with the diverging lens, both the lenses being of equal focal length. What is the focal length of combination? So focal length of converging lenses f1 equal to f, and focal length of diverging lens given by f2 is equal to minus f, and focal length of combination is 1 by f equal to 1 by f1 plus 1 by f2, which is 1 by f equal to 0. Thus f is equal to infinity. Question number 5. A convex lens of focal length 10 centimeter is placed coaxially 5 centimeter away from a concave lens of focal length 10 centimeter. If an object is placed 30 centimeter in front of the convex lens, find the position of the final image of the product. For refraction by convex lens, we have u1 equal to minus 30 centimeter and f1 equal to plus 10 centimeter. Thus, by using the lens formula, we get v1 equal to plus 15 centimeter. That is, image is formed beyond the concave lens. Now, object distance for concave lens can be calculated from 1 by f2 equal to 1 by v2 minus 1 by u2. Here u2 is plus 10 centimeter and f2 is minus 10 centimeter. On substituting the value, we get v2 equal to infinity. Thus, final image will be formed at infinity. Question number 6. Use mirror equation to prove that an f and 2f of a concave mirror produces a real image beyond 2f. That is, an object placed between the focus and the center of curvature. It forms a real image beyond the center of curvature. Now, let the object be placed at u. Let this point u be between focus and the center of curvature. Thus, u is equal to f plus x, and 2f, it is greater than f plus x, which is greater than f. Now, we know 1 by f equal to 1 by v plus 1 by u. Thus, 1 by v equal to 1 by u minus 1 by f. On substituting, we get v equal to f square plus fx by x, or v equal to f square by x plus f. If x is equal to f, that is, if the object is going to be placed exactly at center of curvature, then v is equal to 2f. But we know x is less than f, and also f square by x is greater than f. Thus, image is formed at a distance more than 2f. Question number 7. A screen is placed 90 centimeter from an object. The image of the object on the screen is formed by a convex lens at two different locations separated by 20 centimeter. Determine the focal length of the lens. Here we need to understand that the distance between the two positions of lens is equal to 20 centimeter. The first case, we had the screen on the right side and the distance between the object and the lens is u and the image distance is v. However, in the second case, the lens is moved 20 centimeter from its initial position and the screen is placed on the left side. This gives us the image distance of u plus 20 and the object distance of u. That is, we are not changing the object distance, but we are changing only the lens position and also the screen position. By lens formula, 1 by f equal to 1 by v minus 1 by u. We need to understand what is v and u. To understand or to find u and v, we know u plus v equal to 90 centimeter and also v equal to u plus 20. That is, in both the cases u is same. In first case v is given by v and second case it is given by u plus 20. Thus, v is equal to u plus 20. And solving these two equations, we get u equal to 35 centimeter and v equal to 55 centimeter. Substituting these values in lens formula, we get focal length f equal to 21.38 centimeter.